One, two, three, four. To those of you who have seen my previous vinyl haul videos, you'll know what this white bag means. It means that I indeed did go to that famous thrift store that I know of, and there were records there, and I made out pretty well today with another great vinyl haul. I'd say that this one ranks among the best for sure. There are a few things in there that, let's say, are so-so, and then some really good things. So without further ado, let's just get started opening up and taking a look at the vinyl that I picked up today. Okay, so I've taken the records out of the bag, and here they are, and we're going to go through them. By the way, it's kind of late. It's basically 2 in the morning, so if I sound a little weary, you'll have to excuse me. But in any case, I was happy to pick this thing up in this very good vinyl haul that I did today, which is retrospective, the best of Buffalo Springfield. So this is a good album. It's got all of Buffalo Springfield's greatest hits and the best of their work. Buffalo Springfield was one of the first sort of influential folk rock type of bands with influences from the British invasion as well. And it had people like Stephen Stills in it, and famously Neil Young before he went on his solo career. So cool looking record, and I was pretty much glad to get this in. Here's the track list. It's got their hit For What It's Worth. And a little note by Ahmet Erdogan. And there it is. Retrospective, the best of Buffalo Springfield. All of these albums were in very good to near mint condition, so got a pretty good score today. Next one that was there was something called 50 Million Elvis Fans Can't Be Wrong, Elvis Gold Records Volume 2. Here's the track list. It's still in the shrink. It's got this old Tower Records label on it. Probably came from Tower Records on 4th Street in New York, which was a legendary record store. If you've ever been to New York during that era, you know what I mean. And the back has got this pretty cool picture of him back there. Like I said, this is still in the shrink. And it's pretty cool. So who doesn't like Elvis? Good album. Mint condition. Next one was something, Commodores' greatest hits. So they were pretty funky. Once in a while they got into sort of a, schmaltzy thing, but they could rock. They could funk. Here are some pictures on the back of the album. There's Lionel Richie. Here's the tracks, of course, Brick House, which is a real smoking tune. Too Hot to Trot. I haven't listened to any of these records yet. So, but of course I'm familiar with the Commodores. Actually, it's a pretty cool cover. That's nice. I like that logo. Very cool. Here's something. This is, I guess it was like a single, another Tower Records sticker. The Art of Noise. I think they were like a English electronic band. I have another record by them. Peter Gunn, extended version. So I guess that's the classic Peter Gunn from, the 40s. Featuring Dwayne Eddy. Familiar sounding name. Dwayne Eddy. In any case, here's the back. There's their address, China Records. Here's what's on this album. And it's on the Chrysalis label. Next, actually, I was actually pretty happy to find these records. So, Henry Nilsson, was it Henry? No, I think it's Harry Nilsson, was a really great American songwriter who wrote a lot of hits. He was actually a big favorite of John Lennon. And John Lennon and him became friends, actually, and Lennon was going to produce one of his albums. And together, him and Lennon went off on the Lost Weekend, Lennon's Lost Weekend in California, where they just went through like a drinking binge. And there's some all kinds of stories, like they were kicked out of a nightclub and they trashed a hotel room or whatever. So, in any case, Lennon had a very, very high regard for his songwriting skills, and Harry Nilsson really knew how to write music. But the thing is that Harry Nilsson wasn't really, even though he got a lot of acclaim and his stuff was at the top of the charts often, he wasn't really so interested in stardom, and he sort of had this, like, look at this album here, Nilsson Schmielsen. And he's like dressed in like a, I don't know what, he's like kind of like in a bathrobe hanging around his house. If we look at the back of it, see like an open fridge, which I guess he just raided, getting something to eat. Anyway, it's got these tracks on it. So I've heard of Harry Nilsson a lot in the past. I think I might even have something by him, but I must say I'm looking forward to, finding out about, listening to these albums, because I don't really know too much about him, and I don't really know any of his music besides the, real big hits. Now, what came in this album, there's something that came in this album which I thought was kind of funny. There's like a poster of Harry Nilsson here, which I've just pulled out. And it just goes to show you like his sense of humor, I guess, because he couldn't be serious about it, but it's like a big poster of him in his like bathrobe. Now, usually when you get a poster of somebody like a rock star or something that you want to put on your wall, it's like, he's looking all, like a teen idol or something, or at least he's got his hair combed and he's wearing a suit or something, But this is like him, looks like he just woke up. I don't know what he's holding in his hand. But he's going ahead and he's in his, messy bathrobe. So it's very funny, actually. I thought that he must have really had a good sense of humor. The next album is A Little Touch of Schmielsen in the Night. Once again, Harry Nilsson. And that is his name, Harry, right? Yeah, Harry Nilsson. And I believe this record, I quickly looked it up, I believe this record was him doing sort of classics, like standards and stuff. Look at all these musicians on here. French horn, trumpet, bass, flute, cello, violins, clarinet. So right here you can see, here's the track list. Side A, For Me and My Gal, It Had to Be You, Making Whoopee. So yeah, these are like great American songs. And As Time Goes By from Casablanca, that famous tune. And you must remember this: a kiss is still a kiss, a sigh is such a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. So you can see what this album is all about. Timeless and precious songs. So, very cool. Harry Nilsson. That looks like him playing the harp or something. I don't know if that's his girlfriend. But looks like a good album, because I'm a fan of the Great American Songbook. I'm a fan of old music. I'm a fan of jazz. I'm a fan of musicals. And it looks like these are little blurbs about each song that he picked for this album. So, here's Making Whoopee. That's such a good song. It's a very, very great song. So, anyway, so a little Schmielsen in the night. A little touch of Schmielsen in the night. Next, there was this album there. The Kinks, Give the People What They Want. I'm not familiar with this album, but I really like the Kinks. I've always liked the Kinks. I like their stuff. Everything from Lola and Waterloo Sunset and, Stop Your Sobbing. So many great songs that they did. And so this was, I guess, a little bit of a later one on the Arista label. The only song that I recognize from here is Better Things, which is, I really like that song. So I think this will be a good album. I like Ray Davies. I think he was a great songwriter. And they're definitely a band that I really, really like. I have a good CD around here. I don't know where it would be. Here they are. I've got these two CDs. One is Kinks, The Ultimate Collection. And it's got so many of their great hits. You Really Got Me, All Day and All of the Night, All the Dedicated Follower of Fashion, Sunny Afternoon, which is a great tune, which I like to actually play on the guitar and the piano, Plastic Man, Victoria, Better Things, which is over here, and Dandy, Where Have All the Good Times Gone. He was a really, really great songwriter. Starstruck. Very, very, very great band, the Kinks. I know there was some friction between him and his brother. There's also, I have the Come Dancing with the Kinks, the best of the Kinks, 1977 to 86. 1977 to 1986. And this is sort of like their later stuff, which is very, very good. I actually listened to this album and I really liked it. So I really like the Kinks, and I'm glad I was able to pick this up on vinyl. Very cool album. Give the People What They Want, the Kinks. Here's the tracks. Okay, moving right along. So, this was there, and I was going to leave it behind, Pat Benatar. But I looked it up on AllMusic. It kind of had good marks, and it kind of reminded me of when I was in high school. And the whole MTV thing and everything. So I remember on her one song that she did, I always liked the guitar solo on it. So I was like, what the heck? I mean, I got it for very cheap. These records were quote-unquote charity shop or thrift store finds. So you know what that means, very low prices. So it didn't really cost me a lot to pick it up, and I decided Pat Benatar, Get Nervous. Next was this, Alan Freed's Top 15, the 15 original hit recordings. So Alan Freed, for those of you who don't know, was a rock and roll DJ, one of the first rock and roll DJs in New York. And there's a lot about him. I won't get into the whole story, but as you can see, there's a bunch of old rock and roll here. Many of which I don't really know. I figured they're like either doo-wop or rock and roll. I mean, I was thinking it would be Little Richard and Chuck Berry and stuff, or like Buddy Holly or those guys, but it's people that I'm not really sure actually who a lot of these people are. But in any case, it should be an interesting listen. There's a picture of Alan Freed. Here he is over here. There's like a poster tonight. The King of Rock and Roll, Alan Freed. The inimitable Chuck Berry, star of Maybelline fame. Connie Francis. Alan Freed guest stars Rock, Rock, Rock. So there you go. Here's like the Paramount. So pretty cool. Here's a little message to like by Alan Freed here. So that should be an interesting record. Like I said, all these records are in great condition. So I was glad to pick that up as well. This was there, Billy Joel Songs in the Attic. I like a lot of what Billy Joel... There's no question that he was a talented songwriter. And some stuff I don't really care for very much. But then I suppose you can say that about many artists. Except for maybe a few exceptions where you just like everything that they did. And on the other hand, a few exceptions where you just hate everything that they did. But so Billy Joel should get some props. He was... came out with a lot of things. Now, this song's in the attic. I'm not really sure. There's like a lot of pictures of him sort of like when he was a kid, sort of a gatefold in here. And you see him, I don't know, kid, like when he was young. Here he is playing the piano as a young man. And growing up. He grew up on Long Island. I guess that's him and his friend or something. Sort of a band that he was in. Guess he played guitar back then. But in any case, I think that this record here, if you look at the back here, I was looking, these are songs that, until the release of the Stranger album in 1977, most people were unfamiliar with the material on this LP. Despite this, we enjoyed a very enthusiastic response from concert audiences, whether appearing as a headliner or opening for other acts. So it's got that Miami 2017, okay, which I know that song. It's a good song, actually. And all these other ones, She's Got Away, Say Goodbye to Hollywood, Captain Jack, The Ballad of Billy the Kid. So good stuff. This actually seems like it's a good Billy Joel album. Because it's got a lot of early stuff and some good songs that he wrote there. So Billy Joel Songs in the Attic. Next was this. This was there. I picked that up. I think it's Men at Work's second album, Cargo, featuring these songs here. I remember It's a Mistake. I think I remember Dr. Heckle and Mr. Jive. But anyway, these guys were big. I think they had 2 albums and then they sort of faded away. This was their second album. I think I have their first album around here somewhere that I picked up one day. Here's the track list. And sort of a new wave, but they were from Australia famously. I come from a land down under. Now next, this was there. Billy Idol Rebel Yell, vinyl LP. Now, I actually, Billy Idol, he was kind of like a punk rocker when punk was out. Then he kind of became like a new wave guy, but he wasn't really new wave, but I guess he was. He sort of had a harder sound. In some of his things, he almost sounded like Jim Morrison in the Doors. So I saw actually a live concert with him at one. I saw it on YouTube or something. I wasn't actually there. And I got to say, It rocked pretty well, actually. As far as that was concerned, I'm not a big fan of him. I find he's a little bit with that sneer. It's a little bit, kind of like a little bit too much of an act there. But wasn't bad. So I picked it up. I was pretty glad to get this. I think his guitar player is a very good guitar player, from what I remember from that video that I saw. But anyway, here's the track list: Rebel Yell, Eyes Without a Face, all these things, Flesh for Fantasy. So, like I said, a little bit kind of like, puts on a little bit of an act there, but kind of a rock and roller. I like him. He's pretty good. This was pretty cool. The Twilight Zone, the original television scores, Volume 1. Rod Serling's The Twilight Zone. If you're a fan of science fiction, I don't really have to like tell you basically what the Twilight Zone is. It was probably one of the most important shows on television ever, and one of the greatest shows even to this day. Came out in the early 60s or late 50s, written by, many of them were written by Rod Serling, who was a screenwriter. Great screenwriter. Here's that famous episode of that woman where those little Martians come in. That was such a good episode, as well as this one. Oh, I remember that one. I think it took place in an amusement park or something. And then this one, Ida Lupino and John Clark in the 16mm Shrine. Can't really remember that one, but that kind of looks like Clark Gable. I don't know. But anyway, gives you a lot of like information here. Here are the tracks. Very cool. So this is on the Varese Sarabande label, and it's television score. So I was happy to get that because I'm into scores. This was actually a really nice pickup, actually. I looked it up online. There was a film, I think, called Dance Craze, which was about the English ska movement. You know, ska music with guys like Madness and the Specials. Especially the Specials were such a good band. That album was so good. But this has Bad Manners, The English Beat, The Body Snatchers, Madness, The Selector, and The Specials. The best of British ska, live. So I haven't seen, these are all live tracks, so I haven't seen the movie, but maybe it was a concert movie or something like that. I really don't know about it, but this is actually kind of a rare record, so I don't know who had this or how it ended up in the thrift store, but it's like one of these kind of lucky finds that you find every once in a while. And you can see here's the track list, Concrete Jungle by the Specials, which I always really liked, and these other songs as well. Nightclub, good song there. So ska was like a mixture, I guess, of like new wave and Jamaican reggae and punk and whatever. I'm not really sure what it was, but it was great music, and I always really liked ska. I remember it was a craze. People dressed up. They had a certain fashion to them, and it was very cool. So that was a nice pickup. I picked up this More Credence Gold. If you looked at a previous vinyl haul video of mine, I got Credence Gold, and this must have been sort of the follow-up to that, More Credence Gold. Here's the tracks. They're doing a little Richard tune there. Put a spell on you, that's cool. And so there you go again. Here you got the picture of the band on the back. More Credence Gold. Very cool. Who doesn't like Credence Clearwater Revival? Great American band. Great stuff. There was a film that was made in the 60s called Black Orpheus. And it was a foreign film. I think it came from Brazil. But what's really great about it is it's got music by Antonio Carlos Jobim. So you know who Jobim. I thought it was Jobim. But I guess whatever. Either I'm wrong or this is wrong, because I'm pretty sure it's Jobim. But anyway, he did all those great Girl from Ipanema, so many Corcovado, so many great songs that he wrote. And he did the music for this film. This is also a rare record that I looked it up, and this was also another lucky find. You know, and this is like, looks like mint. You know, this record has to be pretty old. You know, but it's in mint condition. Black Orpheus. I think I saw the beginning of the movie once. But it won the Grand Prize Cannes Film Festival 1959. Okay, and then you can see it's got the liner notes there and pictures from the movie. Okay, And finally, there was this album there, Bossa Nova by Quincy Jones. Big band Bossa Nova. Quincy Jones, of course, Quincy Jones was an arranger and a big band leader, and also he played the trumpet, and he was a jazz trumpeter as well. And basically later on went on to, of course, become a great producer of records, and he produced Michael Jackson's, Off the Wall and Thriller, I think he did as well. And I guess this record, obviously, which is an older record, which was before those things happened, this was probably during the whole big bossa nova craze of the 60s. And it has, one of these, oh, well, look, it has Black Orpheus on it. So that's interesting, so it has it. But it's got that famous, big band sort of 60s sound song that was used in the Austin Powers films. I'd sing it for you, but I don't want to mess it up. So, but it's got, like, it's all bossa, big band. It's a real testimony to that time, and it's got a loungy feel to it, and it's like chill music and very cool stuff, from that era. So, big band bossa nova. It's got this picture of this girl on the front. Soul Bossa Nova is the name of that track, by the way. So if you want to look it up, it's pretty cool. And then, you've got like all these liner notes here. Big band bossa nova, Mercury High Fidelity. Little note by Quincy Jones there. So anyway, that was it for this record haul. Chalk one up for another great record haul at the thrift store with a real nice collection of records there. What can I say? You just got to be there at the right time. I had been there the other day. By the way, when I went there today, I was just passing by, and I actually was thinking, I was in there the other day, and I saw there was this DVD of like the original Battlestar Galactica series, the whole thing on DVD. So I didn't pick it up. So I wanted to go back and pick that up today. I wasn't expecting really to see any records, but I guess somebody had just dropped off, some stuff. Once again, you have to be there, right when it hits, otherwise it just disappears. But in any case, thanks for watching. And if you like this video, press like, and don't forget to subscribe for future videos. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye.